So this is one I did earlier. I'm going to start to build up some of the other shapes now, remembering that I'm keeping everything very kind of clear using beautifully saturated colours. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow here, and I think what I'll do is I'll use the same colour in different places so that I don't make my brush too dirty, because otherwise you'll end up putting other colours inside of these colours and you'll lose that lovely saturation of them. So anything that's got a bit of yellow in, I'm going to deal with now. Sometimes I'm going to go over the edges a little bit, that's fine as well. What else is yellow? These were done, these are yellow, that's yellow, and a little bit of yellow on the cloth, which is just here. Okay, this is gradually being built up. As I said before, it's very tempting to do a jigsaw. Don't be afraid to work fast so that that doesn't happen. I think that's quite important. And I'm going to start to use a green, I think, so I'll start putting in the foliage. Once I choose my brush, I'll put quite a bright green, so I'm going to use the colours I like as well. You can change things if you want to, that's absolutely fine as well. But try to feel the character of his work as well. We'll start by putting the flat colours down, and then we'll work into it with some more different tones. And then we'll use a little bit more a different kind of green, I think, a slightly darker green. So I'm looking at how it's darker down here. He did work with tones. This period was not completely flat. He became much more abstract later on, and obviously with the cutouts he became very abstract and really flat. But here we've got a sort of a compromise time really. So just working in with those, and then I need to do the stalks, and the stalks are much lighter, so I'm going to mix up a yellow, but I'm going to make it quite opaque with white, and just get these stalks in. Stalks are very kind of directional, so they help to guide your eye around. You can see I actually changed it quite a few times when I was actually setting the still life up, so that they were useful as well as lovely and moving, because they do help to move your eye around. You can see it sort of lets your eye go round like that. Okay, now I think I'll look at this dark area here. So I'm sort of working through and over the picture. The idea is to get rid of all the white eventually, or most of the white. So I'm going to use this dark purple that I used before over here. I'm going to use that for the pattern on the jug. And again, I wouldn't be too keen to use too much black, because a dark will do. So if you call black a dark, it'll give you an idea of what's okay to use. And this of course is contrasting, isn't it? It's not completely we're not working in a completely flat way. You need a little bit of contrast, you need some contrast in order to create a sort of sparkle. And then I'm working on this area here. I think I need a bit more red there, which I'd forgotten to do. A little bit here. Use an appropriate size brush for the kind of mark that you're making. And I'm looking at my still life here, and I'm thinking that this is blue here, which I rather like. So I'm going to use a sort of quite a light, I don't know, greeny blue here. And by using the pattern, again, pattern is very useful for guiding your eye around. It helps your eye travel. and because there's some here and also here, again it's a repetition of shape and colour, which helps your eye travel, which is the main name of the game really. Now this black here that I've used, I'm going to use the purple again. So again I'm going to start putting in purple by these hoop things. Again, it's sort of translated as I've worked on it, as I've drawn it a few times, and you know, I've got what I want from it really. No one's ever going to see this again, I don't suppose, so it's okay to do it. And up here I think I'll add in a little bit. I'm going to maybe add a little bit of orange up here, just only because I feel like it actually, and then a bit of yellow. So get yourself organised so that you've got your paints all ready, rather than suddenly kind of finding that you need something and you haven't got it, because that's the way you sort of don't get what you want. You've got the main focus when you're painting is the painting. You need to be doing the painting wholeheartedly and confidently, and by having everything ready, that will help a lot. Then I'm going to look at this very dark tulip. This one's going to be, I know, I'm going to mix the purple and white, the same purple and white. It's quite a sort of midnighty colour. Still looking at the lights and darks, there's a little bit of light there. So, and these tulips have got obviously different colours in them. Tulips are one of my favourite most colours. And I'm going to use a bit more of an orangey red in there so that it kind of refers to that. So on this one here, it's got its purple in, so again I'll use a bit of the purple. Purpley red. So enjoy the colours, that's what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying putting them down. And down here as well there's that lovely reddy colour with the yellow. So keep blotting my brush so that it's dry, putting a bit of yellow in there. Now these green hoop things, I'm thinking I will use a different green, so I'm going to mix up a more bluey green with some white, just to give it a bit more variety of colour. So getting the hoops in, 1 and 2, and there's one here. And I'll use the same green on the pattern of the cloth top left there, that sort of flowery thing. You can see how it's sort of coming together. Looks like I need a bit of red there. And a bit more blue there, so that all these colours are sort of making little arrows guiding your eye around. Now for the blue here, I think I might use one of my Posca pens actually. I'm going to use pens that surround the blue here. So again, if you need a bit more kind of control, these are acrylic, so it's exactly the same thing as you've had before, that you've used before. Use a little bit of it up there as well, just because it can again guide your eye around. And it looks like I need a little bit of red here. Again, I don't check whether I got it exactly right. It's not exact that we're looking for, it's impression and feeling and movement and lots of sort of an idea of that still life as well. Now I'm going to put a little bit more detail in, so I'm going to put a little bit of this orangey colour here for these leaves on the flowers, and I'm going to use this same Posca pen again. It isn't the same blue, but it doesn't matter. That's my absolute choice, and it will be yours as well, so don't be afraid. Maybe I'll put a little bit of red down here as well, a little stripe of red, just to keep linking it all together. So I've done a lot of different parts of the picture. Put a little bit of darker tone in here just to, and you can if you want to, because of the shape that it is. I might just use a little bit of my Posca pen again. So you can, it's sort of like a note, it's like a notation really when you use the pens. The last thing I'm going to do before I show you the one that I did earlier is I'm going to have a look at this jug. So I'm going to build up this purple a bit here. And also a little bit of, I'm going to put a little bit of purple over the black so that it isn't quite so dense, because what happens is if you use black, it's rather deadening. It will tend to sort of deaden the colour, and if you add in another colour it will help to sort of lift it up. And then a little bit more yellow on here, and I'm just looking at the highlight here. I'm going to put that in, and then we're going to look at the one that I did earlier. So I'm going to mix up a purple and white so that I get a nice highlighted colour. So here, okay, so let's look at the one that I've completed. So here's one that I did earlier, probably slightly different to the last one, but that's what happens. I'm just going to add a few little bits in here. I feel like I need to work into the leaves a little bit more, so I'm going to just mix up that bright green with a slightly darker, duller green. I'm just going to build up a little bit so you get lots of paint. I think that's, you know, that's the sort of name of the game. It's lovely to put chunks of paint down. That's the thing I like the most when I'm painting. And also I'm going to work into this jug a little bit as well, keeping a nice clean brush, and just build it up that little bit more. So don't be afraid. I think building is what you need to do. Let it dry, work into it again. If necessary, work on more than one at a time so that you don't have to wait, or just dry with a hairdryer. But just build and let it be very painty. I think he's such a painty artist really. And again on the red, really building the red up. Oops. Try not to do that. A bit over enthusiastic. But I've kept all the lines. On this one you can see I used a different colour line. I wanted to show you what doesn't have to be that line that I used. I've used this more sort of turquoisey colour. I've used this one actually. And you know, it's equally, I wanted to see what each of them look like. So you know, don't worry about what colour you use. Use a colour you like. Don't use yellow, use a strong colour. Probably don't use red either, but I think in the blues and purples range that's probably going to be good enough. I mean, they'll all work. So you can see I'm just building and building, making it a little bit more chunky, making it a bit more painty, for want of a better word, and leaving little bits of white because that's absolutely fine as well. I'm thinking I might add to this orange here. Big square little, well, big, not big, little square brushes are rather nice. You can do sort of general marks in that way very successfully. Here I've used the blue, a different blue again. So each of them are a little bit different, and that's absolutely fine as well. So there you go. That's the finished one. Now I've done one other thing for you, which is that I thought I'd just sort of progress onto something even more, or more abstracted if you like. So this is one that I've sort of taken stuff away, whoops, I've taken away the little pot. I've added in a window because he did a lot of paintings which were something to do with inside and outside, so he liked the idea of inside and outside. I've used black as my outliner, and I've used that quite a lot. So again, I've outlined with black, and if you want to put more outlines in, then do, because that works fine as well. It's a much more a flatter version. You can go much more, even more flat if you want to, but I think it would be fun to progress if you felt like it, and be a little bit more kind of free about what you put in and what you don't put in. So maybe have a go at that as well.